What's good, everybody? The ambassador here, back for another interview here on Theme Park ERT. And this one is one that I've been looking forward to for a while because a close friend of mine, met him a long time ago, friend of the channel. It is Dylan from Theme Park Obsession. Hooray!
Yay!
Hey, buddy. Thanks so much for coming on the show. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
man.
It's been a long time coming, but we're glad to have you and snag you now.
It's finally happening.
We thought we'd just come to a nice location here in Southern California. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful day.
It is.
And since you cover like every Southern California theme park and amusement park, why stick to one? Let's just come and enjoy.
Exactly.
This is what you're missing, everybody, when you come to, you're not here in Southern California. And if you want to catch up on all the parks, you watch Theme Park Obsession. So why don't you tell us about how did you get started? Like, what was the idea? What was the genesis of starting your channel?
From the get-go, like I've always been obsessed with theme parks. Ever since I was little, I learned how to turn the computer on at my grandparents' house and play Roller Coaster Tycoon at a very young age. And so from there, it just grew faster and faster and faster. And then, about 2 years ago, I decided, why, don't I just start my own channel and something I'm really passionate about. And a lot of influence came from Theme Park Review and Fresh Baked Disney, and there's a bunch of channels out there. And, I was like, this is so awesome. Why can't I do this myself? I'm passionate about it. Let's just do it. And that's just kind of how it happened.
Just grabbed your camera and went. Do you remember
Yeah.
your very first video?
Oh God, yeah. That very first video I was scared to do it because the first nerves of making a video and posting it online for potentially thousands of people to see, if not, millions of people to see. And I was very terrified, but I decided to do a Universal video because not too many people in the community were doing Universal content besides the heavy hitters inside Universal.
Sure.
And I said, let's just do it. And I filmed it, and I remember that day I was struggling so much to talk to camera, and I decided not to, and just to do a voiceover and add garage band music to the background and try to figure it out. And I posted it, and about a week later the video got 30,000 hits.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is something that people want to watch, and the rest is history, really.
You know what, Dylan? The sun's going down a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's switch things up.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hey, all right.
Wow. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah, we're in a nice, more comfortable environment because we can have now some real talk.
I know.
It's serious. So, tell us about all the different parks that you cover.
So I cover Universal Studios, Disneyland, California Adventure, Knott's Berry Farm, and occasionally what the goal is to cover just all the parks around the country.
Sure.
The next step would probably be Florida, because getting the content in Florida, there's so many parks out there that people love to research as well when they're doing vacations. So I think the next step would be to cover Florida as much as I can, and get back to California, then Florida. So it's going to be an interesting ride, nonetheless, to see what happens in the next couple of years. But Florida is definitely the next destination.
And plus, a lot of those parks there are open for a longer season, and some don't even close at all, so it makes it a little bit easier to get content.
Yeah, especially the Disney parks. The Disney community here loves the content that I push out right now.
Right.
So being able to provide an occasional Disney World video here and there would be awesome as well. So hopefully.
Yeah, and it seems like you've been adopted into the
Yeah,
Disney enthusiast community, right?
It's crazy because I started out just doing Universal content and then covering the Halloween Horror Nights construction, which was very big for the channel. That drew in a lot of people. And then when I started doing Disney content, I noticed that people were starting to come out of the woodwork and oh my God, I love your Disney videos. And now it's some of the biggest, they're the heavy hitters. The Disney videos do the best out of all of them.
And I think one of the things that I enjoy as a fan was that you cover things that maybe a lot of people don't think to cover, hey, what's the new food item this week even? Or, hey, there's a new flower that has been planted over here. Looks like they're doing some nice maintenance. What was your idea behind that?
Well, I used to watch construction videos all the time.
Yeah.
Growing up, I'd watch so many different things. And not too long ago, I was like, there's not really a channel out there that's showcasing the park in other ways. And that was one of the forefront in creating the channel. I wanted to do something like that. So that's why all the videos are, they have those beautiful shots and the openings and closings and throughout the video. And yeah, I like talking about things that most people don't really concentrate on. If they're building a new coaster at a particular park, that's great, but what about the rest of the park? Because you got to think about people that are traveling and on vacation.
Right.
They want to know more than just the roller coaster. They want to know the nitty gritty stuff. So that's why in all my videos, I try my best to cover the broad scope of what the park is currently doing.
Yeah, I can totally see the appeal for that. If someone who's like, hey, we've got a trip planned to Disneyland or Universal and we're from out of state. Oh, let's quickly check theme park obsession and then see what's going on. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's some of the best fan interaction that you've had or viewer interaction that you've had in person?
Oh man, it happens all the time, and like I'm so thankful for it. Like last night we were at Disneyland, and it happens quite a bit there because of the Disney audience is so large. And you know, I always say that if it takes 40 minutes to do an interaction with someone, I'm going to take that 40 minutes to do the interaction, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have the opportunities to do all this stuff. So just being able to talk to people, and they get so excited when they see me, or you know, they're like, oh, we love the videos so much, they've helped us on our vacation. Like that like phrase right there is always like hits home to me, because it's like, that helped us on our vacation. I'm like, great, the videos are doing their job. Right. They're doing what I like always wanted them to do. So the interactions are always fantastic. Well, that's so cool. And, you know, hopefully this interview here, and the whole purpose of it is for your fans to get to know you a little bit better. So in addition to, you know, hanging out with Michael, who's in your videos too, what are some other cool YouTubers or anything like that that you got to hang out and collab and make some fun videos with? It's so funny because like throughout the journey, like I've looked up to so many other content creators, and then it's funny now I hang out with like most of them. Yeah. And it's just luck, and like look at the draw, like I'm there and they happen to be there too, so I say hi. But like Adam from the Daily Woo, I've been able to hang out with him, and he's such a wonderful guy. Yeah. Being able to create content together is great. Katie and Spence from Best Life and Beyond, and David from Fresh Baked Disney, sorry. There's too many Disney. I mean, everyone has been so great, and I'm so thankful that they've like accepted me into the group. Sure. And it's so cool. And you know, even with like you guys, like hanging out in the parks is always so fun. But like I just love. I've always been an open book when it comes to that. I've never really believed in competition as far as like, oh, I need to get this first, and I'm not going to share it to anybody else. Like, I feel like we're all doing the same thing. We all have the same passion for theme parks, roller coasters, whatever it may be. And why not like work together and make the community even bigger and more broad? Like that's the way I look at it. Absolutely. And that's some of the best memories that I have as well. It's just hanging out with everybody, whether we're in the video or not. It's just fun being around. And speaking of fans getting to know you a little bit better, what is your favorite restaurant at any theme park? Oh man, that's such a hard because you do so much food review. I do love Blue Bayou at Disneyland. Sure, it's very good. The steak there is very, very good. The last time I was at Blue Bayou was probably for the 60th anniversary. So it's been a hot minute, but Blue Bayou is great. What is your favorite type of ride? Roller coaster, dark ride, or? An immersive dark ride. Like I love coasters. I don't really have that many credits. I only have 79 coaster credits, and I know the coaster community on my channel, that they're there. They definitely come out every time I cover Six Flags and Knott's Berry Farm and stuff, and it's fantastic. But I'd like to get more credits. I'd love to, you know, travel the country and the world and do as many credits as I can. But for me, the immersive dark rides are just stunning. Like Indiana Jones at Disneyland, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey at Universal Studios, and Rise of the Resistance. Yes. I mean, like, it's so cool how they can immerse you in an environment, and I just love that. Yeah, and that video, after you wrote that with you crying, man. Talk about the most real moment. That was any video. that was brutal. I was not expecting to do that. Like I got off the ride and I was like, I'm gonna break down right now. Like it was so crazy because it was so immersive and it was so real. And you know, not too many. You don't come across those attractions very often. They're very few and rare. The last time we had an attraction like that was Indiana Jones. Right. So those rides are just absolutely jaw-dropping. And I also think that it was a very real moment for your fans and people watching, because it humanizes you a little bit. Not saying you're not human, but you know what I mean? Like it's more relatable. There's more, people can see that. There's a connection. Right. Because people might have the same reaction and they're like, oh, he had the same reaction as me. And I get that too in the parks. People come to me, I had the same exact reaction. Right. And that's fantastic, because in that we make that connection. And that's one thing I've always wanted to do when creating the channel, is to be as close to the fans as possible. And I know it's going to get to the point where it's just going to be nearly impossible, but if I can answer as many comments as I can, or answer as many emails as I can, or say hi to as many people as I can in the parks, like those things make a difference. Absolutely. Yeah. And along those same lines, answering as many things as you can, you know what time it is. Oh no. It's time to play GP or OG. I'm so nervous. Okay, so
you cover so many different parks.
Yeah.
Universal was your bread and butter. Then it became Disney. Six Flags is your go-to in your back pocket. Knott's Berry Farm is new. SeaWorld you've been to before, and there's more coming. I'm going to stick to Disney because I think this is going to be fun.
Oh, God, I'm nervous.
Here's the game. I want you to name as many Hidden Mickey locations, and you have 15 seconds. Start the clock!
Toontown, there's a multiple there. The Goofy's Gym, right on the back corner of the backstage, Toontown. Galaxy's Edge, Smuggler's Run, there's one right before you get to the load. Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta, there's one architecture and right by the salad location. Galaxy's Edge right by the drinking fountain, Droid Shop. That's so hard.
I know, right?
Because there's so many of them. There's literally like thousands of them throughout the property, and you like try to name exactly where they're. Oh, wow.
Can you beat his score? Let's see what it was.
Probably.
Hey, that's. I'm throwing it out there. If you guys want to come try to beat Dylan Theme Park Obsession, you're welcome to come onto the show. Yeah. I know it's a lot harder than.
I mean, that's a video in itself, right there. That'd be great.
Is there any park? I know you mentioned some in Florida and things like that. Is there any park that's like a bucket list park? Maybe a top 2 bucket list parks that you'd love to get to?
Yeah, Tokyo Disney Sea.
Yes.
That's at the top.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen so many pictures and videos from that park, and you know, so many of my buddies have gone, and I'm just like, I need to go. It's so incredibly amazing, and I just like that is on the top of the list.
Is there a ride there that you're like looking forward to the most, or is it just being there in itself?
I mean, being there in itself is probably the forefront of it, but Journey to the Center of the Earth is one of those rides. And in my luck, I'll probably go and it'll be down for maintenance. You know, one of those things.
That's what it is.
Yeah, but as far as like coasters are concerned, I-305, I really want to do that. Yeah, that's like so many people black out on that coaster. I want to do it. I want to do it.
Yeah. Let's go along those same lines. What's a roller coaster that you rode that surprised you the most?
Oh, okay. This actually just very recently. I made a trip out to Texas to San Antonio.
Yeah.
And it was a whim trip. Like we literally woke up on New Year's Day and it's like, let's go to Texas, and hopped in the car nonstop, drove there.
Yeah.
And made it there. The same day we went right into Fiesta, Texas. But the coaster that surprised me the most, and it's probably the most surprising coaster I've probably ever been on, is Steel Eel at SeaWorld San Antonio.
Oh, wow.
That ride was like insane. And I've been on like, you know, similar rides like Desperado. So I was thinking, okay, it's going to be very similar. And when I got on it, the floater airtime on that is insane. It's bonkers. And so when we were going through its course, I was like, this is like the best ride ever. This is so cool. And we went on it. We ended up going on it like 4 or 5 times.
Nice.
So that was probably the big sleeper hit of the trip. And of course, in my coaster count, like that was very surprising.
How about this? Why don't you throw out your stats? Like how many subscribers do you have? How many views do you have? Things like that.
So as of right now, I'm about to hit 50,000 subscribers, which is amazing.
On YouTube?
Yeah, it hasn't even hit 2 years since I started the channel, and I'm already at 46 and some change. So it's amazing that, like I said, that first Universal video really did spike it up, and then ever since then, it's just been blowing up. Every month I gain around everywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 subscribers. So I'm very thankful for that. And the channel itself is about to hit 6 million views in total. I think that's pretty good for under 2 years.
Well
so.
done. What about Instagram?
Instagram is a little bit difficult because it's just a different niche, and so I'm about to hit 7,000 on Instagram. So that's doing really, really well. I always tell people to go over to the Instagram as well because sometimes I post content there that I don't normally post on YouTube. So it's nice to have people jump over there as well. Twitter, we're about to hit 1,000. Twitter, I started relatively late in the game, so that's going to take some time. But Instagram and obviously the YouTube subscribers are just going great.
What about Friendster and MySpace?
Oh, MySpace. Oh man, I think 3 people still follow me on MySpace.
Well, I'll hit you up on ICQ later. Okay.
Oh my God, flashbacks.
What's the plan for Theme Park Obsession? Like, what is your 10-year goal? 5-year goal.
Yeah. I mean, to continue to make the content, extremely valuable to those that are watching it. Making the content more beautiful, showing off the park more. Like I said earlier, instead of just covering one particular thing, like let's show the park off more, because I know for a fact that people from out of town are watching the content. Right. So why not show off the park? And I don't want to point out something negative all the time. I want to point out like everything. So doing more of that, and then just beautiful, fun to watch content. That's always the goal.
Well, if it's anything like what you're putting out now, I'm super excited to see what's happening.
Yeah.
Because we're a fan. We're obsessed with you. Thank you so much, Dylan.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you for coming
Yeah,
to the
that's
show
great.
and teleporting to this more intimate setting
this
because
is
we figured that
fantastic.
you deserved an intimate interview with our buddy Dylan. So again, I've been the ambassador. Why don't you throw out your social medias?
Oh, Theme Park Obsession on Instagram, at Park Obsession on Twitter and Facebook, and then Theme Park Obsession on YouTube. Pretty easy.
If you're not already subscribed, what are you doing? Go ahead and check him out. Again, this has been the ambassador, and this has been your Theme Park ERT.